So last week, the Nintendo Switch 2 launched to a very high level of success. Within the first 24 hours, it set a record for console launch sales. It sold over 3 million units, which is extremely impressive for a console launch. And with that launch, Nintendo decided that they would bundle the brand new Mario Kart game with it. It's called Mario Kart World. I got the bundle edition. I was able to fortunately pre-order, though I don't know if fortunately really tracks here because of the abundance of units that were available to purchase that night without a pre-order, which, props to Nintendo on that one. Making sure that people who actually want to buy these consoles instead of resell them at a higher value, they're able to get that as well too. And it's burning the scalpers as well too, which that gets an A+ for me. Really quick, I do want to address something in my comments, a little silly. No, there's no laundry back there right now. However, from my last video, I did make sure to keep the gateway to heaven behind me. So basically the point of this video is to give you my initial thoughts. I'm about 10-15 hours into playing this game. I'm also gonna answer the question, is this game worth $80? Should you wait for it to go on sale? So jumping right into the visuals and the art and the audio, it's pretty par for the course for a Mario game. It looks fantastic, like it does on every single Nintendo console that comes out. There is a level of quality that, you come to expect with Mario Kart games from a graphical standpoint. It's nothing, game changing. It's nothing that's going to rock your world, but it's on par. It looks really good. It looks really clean. And it's, that level of shine that you come to expect with every new Mario Kart release. They do an extremely good job of utilizing what's under the hood of the console to give you an extremely consistent experience no matter what mode you're playing. As for the soundtrack, nothing really stands out to me. There's a couple songs that are really cool, but for me personally, when I'm playing Mario Kart games, I'm not really focused on the soundtrack. I'm more focused on the actual gameplay, and because of that, I kind of tune that soundtrack out, so nothing really striking. Like I said, there's a couple good songs here and there, but nothing that I'd go out of my way to listen to, if that makes sense. So as it relates to the gameplay and the core gameplay loop of this game, it's pretty standard for what you would expect from a Mario Kart game. There are 3 primary modes that are in this game outside of time trials and stuff. You have your Grand Prix mode, you have the new Knockout Tour mode, which I actually really like. I think it's a great addition, and we'll get into that in a second. You have your battle mode, and then, sorry, I missed one. You have free roam as well too. So there's 4 primary modes available to you, starting with the Grand Prix mode. They really shake up the Grand Prix mode in this game. So unlike previous titles where Grand Prix is you select your cup, then you go through, you race each track, and each track has X amount of laps, and then you just do that over and over and over again. This one's a little bit different. So you have your predetermined cups with the predetermined racetracks inside of them. However, in this game, what happens is after you complete that first race, it usually has 3 to 5 laps. You then part of the next race is to drive to the next track, and then you do 1, maybe 2 laps on that track. The race ends, and then rinse and repeat through the rest of the entire Grand Prix. I think this is a cool new way to approach the Grand Prix. I do have some gripes around this as well too, which I'll get into in a little bit. I like what they did with the Grand Prix mode. I think that it adds a new approach to the Mario Kart style and does a good job of keeping things fresh. Next up, we have the Knockout Tour mode. This is the newest addition to Mario Kart outside of free roam. This is, in my opinion, kind of like a Mario Kart battle royale. So essentially how it works is you have your 24 racers, and that's another big change in this game. You have 24 racers. And so what it is it's essentially a really long race where you're basically racing from track to track, doing a single lap on each and every one of them. And the idea is that you need to place higher and higher each time. So it starts with 24, and then at the end of the first race, you have to be in the top 20 to keep going. Then you have to be in the top 16, the top 12, until you get to the top 8, and then that's the final one. You just have to win the race at that point. It's an interesting new mode. I think it's a welcome addition to this game, and I find a lot of value in it. I think I actually enjoy Knockout Tour a lot more than I enjoy the Grand Prix, if I'm being a completely It's a great new addition to the game and to the formula. I like it more than I like the Grand Prix mode. I think it's just a little bit more fluid, and it really is a good way to take advantage of the sprawling open world that they've created for this game. Moving on to the battle mode. So this is, you know, if you've played older Mario Karts, you kind of have an idea of what this entails. You have balloon battle, and then you have your coin chaser thing or whatever. You know, it's pretty par for the course. I'm not a big fan of the battle mode in this game. I think ever since Mario Kart DES, they've been taking steps back every single iteration. I will say this, in my opinion, is better than Mario Kart 8's battle mode, but not by a lot. I don't like how they designed the maps for this. So when you have Mario Kart Double Dash and you have Mario Kart DS, they actually had dedicated levels created and crafted around a battle mode. Whereas in Mario Kart World, they really just take areas of the map, section it off into a smaller area, and sometimes, in my opinion, it's way too big. Like Moo Moo Meadows is way too large. I'm not a big fan of the battle mode on this one, but at the end of the day, battle mode isn't what draws people to Mario Kart. It is going to be the racing, because that's what Mario Kart is. It's its DNA, but it's a good way to kind of break up the monotony of doing races every single time. However, I played it so that I could get an opinion for this video, and so I could get some footage for this video. I'm not a big fan of it. It is what it is. And then lastly, the final addition of different modes you can play is free roam. This is unique to just this one. I actually really like free roam. I think it lets you explore these courses more than ever before, right? So back in the day, if you wanted to get out of bounds and explore a course, you had to glitch through and like jump over the invisible wall. I don't even know. Like, every single map had its own way of breaking it, and then it ends with you just falling through the map anyway. This one, you know, I think it does a great job. It gives you the opportunity to kind of see the world around these tracks, and I really like it. I really like it. And then you have a bunch of cool little Easter eggs hidden throughout the place. You have cool challenges spread everywhere, not too hard in my opinion. I can really appreciate it for what it is. And it gives you an opportunity to really see the care and effort and how they kind of tie everything together in this game. And that's something that I really appreciate. My one gripe though is I do wish you were a little faster in free roam. I don't know if it's just me, but it feels like you move really slow. And it's honestly a decently large world, but it is what it is. So before you go into any of these modes and start playing, how it works is you select your character, you select your cart, and then you go in. And there are different assets that you have to factor in when you are creating or selecting your character and cart. So there are 3 types of character builds. You're going to have the lightweight character build, you're going to have the medium weight character build, and then you're going to have the heavyweight character build. And so each of these builds does impact the performance of your cart. So let's say you're selecting a lightweight build, you're going to have higher acceleration and handling. If you select heavyweight, you're going to have higher speed and weight at the cost of lower acceleration and handling, and vice versa for that lightweight build as well. And then you have medium weight, which is going to be more balanced across the board. And like I said, you go into every single mode, you select what you want to play as, and then you play it. The nice thing is, even when you're in online, after you finish a race, you don't have to back out of the lobby and join back in. You can just go into a character select, change up what you want to use. No, I can see there being a competitive aspect to this of like, oh, I feel like everyone's pushing me around in this lobby particularly. Let me play with a heavyweight build instead of a lighter character like Baby Luigi or something. Overall, I think it's a very fun gameplay loop. You know, it's Mario Kart. You can't really go wrong with it. You buy it, you really know what you're going to get out of it. And in all honesty, I genuinely don't think there's been a bad Mario Kart release. If you can think of one that was bad, except for like the mobile game, which we all know sucks, just let me know in the comments. But in general, I don't think Nintendo really misses with Mario Kart. You really know what you're getting out of the box. So that's something that I can appreciate about this game series. And then one last note that I wanted to make about the different modes. So when you are in online mode, there is no Grand Prix option. It is very similar to what you would see in Mario Kart 8, where you have everybody in the lobby, everybody votes on a course that they want to play on, and then from there, it randomly selects which course out of the ones selected from the players it is going to play. You have one of 3 choices. or you can select random. And one thing that's interesting about this is it plays into that seamless world like what you see with the Grand Prix. So the 3 choices that you get, you can only pick courses that are nearby the course that you just played so that you can drive to it. And then if you select random, it treats it as if it's the beginning of the Grand Prix like I had mentioned earlier, where you do that predetermined amount of laps and then you move on and you guys select a course that is in relation to that so that you can drive to it. And this seamless world is something that I think this game does extremely well. It really makes it feel like an interconnected world. You're not just teleporting from place to place. You can actually see the distance that goes in between these things and how everything relates to each other on a map. And I think that's a really interesting way that they have taken this series. I'm not sure if it's something that they will do again. It's the gimmick of this game, similar to how every other Mario Kart has their gimmicks. Double Dash with their 2 racers, DES adds online play, the Wii introduced motion controls, 7 added flying, and then 8 has its weird little anti-gravity thing. This one has a full and seamless connected world, and I think that's cool. I think it's different, and I'm glad that they explored this as a feature for a Mario Kart title. I know when they announced this Mario Kart game, I kept calling it Mario Kart Horizon, or something like that, Mario Kart Horizon Motorsport or whatever, just because it has that open world, and I'm like, okay, I feel like this is just going to be Forza Motorsport Horizon, but I think it does a decent job of differentiating itself. Not in the best way. There's going to be more to do in Forza Horizon, but for a Mario Kart game, I think that I really like what they have done with that open world. Another huge draw for Mario Kart, and another thing that it does extremely well, is it is a very simple game. There's not too much going on, right? When you look at other racing games in the genre, they're more simulation, whereas this is definitely more of an arcade experience. You just press the A button to start and you go. You're playing the game, whereas, you get Forza Horizon or Motorsport, and then you get Gran Turismo, more simulation style, where it's down to the nitty gritty, and then you're spending 12 hours of your day customizing your car to get the most performance based on what you're doing. This one, you select a character, you select a kart, you go, you're in the game, you're playing. Honestly, on first boot up, you're playing the game in less than 3 minutes. You get the title screen, and then you go to Grand Prix, you pick a character, you start. That's something that I love about Mario Kart, is just how simple it is. And then another thing the game does well, good selection of characters. I don't think I have all of them unlocked just yet. Like I said, I'm only 10-15 hours in. I feel like I have a good amount of them in. But yeah, good character selection. They add in a bunch of fan favorites for enemies, as well as your Mario heroes, or whatever you want to call them. And then just to spice it up a little bit, they added costumes for every single character based on the different regions in the game. You unlock it by collecting the local food in these sandwich bags you see littered across the map, and that's how you collect the different costumes for each character. I like it. I think it adds a little bit more personality to how you want to play. Like me, I'm partial to Koopa Troopa in his all-terrain outfit. I think it's just really goofy and silly, but yeah, they got all kinds of different stuff, and I think that's cool. And sorry, going back to the gimmicks of this game, and I don't necessarily want to call it a gimmick for this game, because I genuinely think this is something that they're going to carry. That was a motorcycle behind me. I don't know if the microphone picked that up. I don't want to call this a gimmick for the game, because I genuinely think that this is going to carry on to every future iteration of Mario Kart, but it's 24-player races. You're playing offline, you're probably good at the game. You're probably going to get in first place. But let me tell you, that first online multiplayer game with 24 players racing against each other, it is a pure adrenaline rush, it is chaos, and it is some of the most fun I have ever had with a Mario Kart game, and I wish I could experience that first race for the first time, because I was in a call with my friend and we were dying. It was just so much chaos. But that's not to say that I don't have any issues with the game either. I actually do have quite a few issues that I wanted to talk about today. One of the things being that they completely removed the traditional Grand Prix experience. So like I said, the new Grand Prix is you start with a race, and then you do 3 to 5 laps on that track, and then you drive to the next race, you do 1, maybe 2 laps on that track, you go to the next one, Grand Prix is done, you win first place, you get the cup. There are a lot of courses where I'd much rather played 3 to 5 laps on it. I really enjoy some of these maps, and there's no opportunity to really play them like you would originally. Like, imagine Baby Park, which, spoiler alert, I apologize, it's not in this game. Imagine that, but you only get to race one lap on it. And that's kind of what you see with the remake of the Koopa Beach or whatever it was called. They took Koopa Beach from the Super Nintendo and remade it in this. Like, you show up and you do one lap. You're doing one lap for like 3 seconds. It's such a small course. And that's where I think this game is lacking, is it takes out that ability to enjoy these courses for what they are, because they've done a great job building out these tracks, and they're very fun, they're very engaging, but you don't really get to race on them very much. You do one lap and then you move on to the next one. It leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion. And I know I was just gassing up the 24 players being the new standard for Mario Kart, at least that's what it feels like, but in my opinion, it very quickly loses its charm. I was finding myself getting extremely frustrated at the amount of chaos that there constantly is in this game. And just another thing as well is the amount of items that are just getting thrown around as well too. It doesn't seem like it's very well balanced, I feel. Like, you'll be in first place, you get smashed by 1 billion items, and then now you're in like the worst 5 places, and then you only get 3 mushrooms, and you know, good luck getting back up. It's the end of the race. Like, there's no chance to come back from that. Another thing that I'm disappointed isn't in this game is you've lost the ability to actually customize your cart. So in Mario Kart 8, you would select your character, then you would select the cart frame, then the tires, and then your glider, each one impacting a different attribute of your cart. And that's completely gone. They've made it, you only select the cart, you don't select the tires or anything else. You select your character, cart, and then you play. I can understand why they do that. It allows a more rounded experience regardless of the character and cart that you're picking, but it takes away the ability to play any character you want for any circumstance. So if I only want to play Donkey Kong, but I want better handling, that's just never going to happen. Or acceleration, that's just never going to happen. It's more reliant on the character and cart that you put together. I can see value in that. I'm not a big fan. I wish that you could still customize your cart. And my biggest gripe with this game is that it is 2025 and Nintendo still does not understand online gaming. I will say their lobbies are so much better, not lobbies, but their servers are so much better. I haven't seen any performance issues or disconnects or lags or stuttering, and that's a good sign. But man, let me tell you, trying to join in an online race or an online lobby with a friend is a nightmare. Me and my friend last night, we were playing for probably about 15 minutes before we were able to actually play the game, because we were trying to get into the same lobby. So how this game works is you're not able to join a public lobby with your friends. You are required to have one friend join a public lobby, and then you have to try and join in off of them. And it doesn't make sense that they just don't get it. Like, most games in 2025 with online functionality similar to Mario Kart, where you have that party experience, have the ability to join in these lobbies with friends. This isn't a new concept. This has been around since the mid to early 2000s. Earlier than that, I mean, you look at Halo 2, for example. You could lobby with friends and then join a public server. And I just don't understand how Nintendo doesn't get with the times on this one. That's my biggest gripe, is the amount of time you have to waste to play with friends. And it's hard enough with just one friend. Not saying I only have one friend, but one friend playing the game. I can only imagine how much of a nightmare it would be if you were trying to get into a lobby with like 4 or 5 of your friends. It's got to be impossible. So I don't understand how they still mess this up. Hell, I mean, even Splatoon 3 on the Switch 1 has the ability, and maybe I'm wrong, but I only played it for a couple hours, but it had the ability, you party up with friends and then you join a lobby. How do they not have that for this game? I don't know. Speaking of their server performance and online, like I said, servers are great. I do think Nintendo's learned their lesson around that. I am excited to see if they release a new Smash game, to see if they can have good servers put together for that. But at least for now, it feels like they've made progress on their server performance. And so I did want to take a quick second to talk about the overall performance of the game itself before I go into my conclusion here. I think they did an excellent job optimizing this game for the Switch 2. Definitely helped helps that it is a Nintendo exclusive. Obviously, it's a first-party title. That is the benefit that Nintendo has for only developing games for their console. You know, I've never seen a frame drop. Considering it is an open world now, I can only imagine how many textures and everything are loaded into the environment at any given moment. And the load times aren't bad, it's only a couple seconds, if that. I've never felt like my loading times are taking way too long. Crashes, me personally, I've never experienced one. My buddy last night did. It was just at the end of a race, it just kind of crashed. But yeah, I have no concerns on performance of this game. I think they did an incredible job. So just to wrap things up, I'm really enjoying this game. I'm about 10-15 hours of game time. I really like it a lot. I think it's a great entry into the Mario Kart series. I don't know if I would recommend it for people who aren't gamers, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. Like if your 80-year-old grandma wants to play this game, don't know if I'd recommend it unless she already has a base understanding of video games. That's the downside of modern gaming, is there's so many buttons, so many controls. Like I wouldn't give this to my dad to play. He'd have to look down and be like, oh, where's the X button, right? Whereas, you have like the N64 Mario Kart or the Super Nintendo Mario Kart, you plug it in, A is go, and you turn left and right. And then you get some buttons to use items. So I wouldn't recommend it for anyone who doesn't understand video games. It's definitely not for everyone in that regard, but if you have a general understanding of video games, you're not going to have any issue at all. Like if you can play a game without looking at a controller, you can play this game, no problem. But to answer the question of the day, is this game worth $80? I'm going to say no. Mario Kart World is not worth $80. And honestly, the only reason that I purchased it at launch is because it came in a bundle, which effectively reduced the price of the game to $50. So if you bought the Nintendo Switch 2, it's a $450 console. The bundle is $499. That's $30 in savings, baby. But anyway, if you ended up buying the console without the game, I would honestly wait for it to go on sale. Granted, it never will because it's a Nintendo game, and I think they're very scummy with how they're doing their gaming prices this generation. At least so far, I don't like what they're doing. But if you're able to get this game in a bundle, I do recommend it. Just, I would not spend $80 on it. I just don't think there's enough there. So overall, good game, not worth $80, but if you can get it on sale or in the bundle, absolutely recommend it. But that's all I got for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any feedback. This is the third video in this kind of new YouTube format that I'm trying. So give me some feedback down in the comments. I really do appreciate it, and I take it to heart. I just want to make this as good as I can while still having fun. And if you liked it, make sure to like and subscribe. But that's all I got. Have a great day.